Welcome to U-Talk. I'm Paige Turner, school counselor at Noble Middle School. Our show is all about the middle school student. Testing, bullying, dating, stress, and so much more. We discuss it all. Joining me each month is a dynamic and engaging panel of middle school students ready to discuss the issues and tackle the tough questions. We kick off our show with some Q&A featuring questions on a variety of topics from middle schools throughout the school system that our panel of students are ready to answer. No question is too tough, no topic is too difficult. All right, panelists, you ready for question number one? All right. My sister is being very mean and annoying, and she is starting to make me cry and get stressed. She is doing stuff like getting me into trouble and making me do all her chores and jobs. Sometimes she can even get a bit violent. Because of this, I keep wishing and wishing to be an only child, but I don't want to because I love her. I don't know what to do. My parents won't listen to me, so I have asked you. Please help me, I'm really stuck. So do any of you have any siblings and issues between you and siblings?
I have 6 siblings.
6 siblings, wow.
I only have a little sister,
Okay,
but she can get a little rowdy sometimes.
yeah. So what are your thoughts? So evidently this student, their sister is being mean and annoying, getting them in trouble. So it sounds like they're feeling really stressed out at home. So what would you guys do? They've tried to talk to their parents, but they won't listen.
I would go to the sister and talk it out with her and just like tell her how you're feeling and maybe talk it out. And
Okay.
I would say probably like try to get your counselors involved, or not involved, but talk with them and try to get yourself less worried.
Yeah, adding on to Caleb, I think if you bring your counselors into the perspective, then the parents will kind of understand, oh, maybe there is something happening, and kind of be more understanding about it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you're in a family, well, a lot of times when you're in a family, you guys are so close, even your parents involved, that sometimes having somebody that's objective, that's not within the family and doesn't see you guys day to day, they could have a different perspective.
Yeah.
And like you said, they could even talk with your parents with you to help,
Yeah.
you know, what's going on. Do you think it matters whether or not the sibling is older or younger? It's like, no?
I mean, I think it's worse when they're younger because they're a little bit more immature than your older sibling.
Because you had suggested perhaps having a conversation, you know, with the sister.
Right.
But that might depend on whether or not, you know, they're older, closer in age to you, or really young.
I think if they're closer in age, it definitely happens more. Because if, let's say you're a year apart, you're both going to be in middle school and probably know the same people. And the older one's going to try to be like the bigger and badder one, the cooler one over the littler sibling. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think like you should definitely, if it's starting to get violent, you should either talk to the older sibling or your parents and try to explain that the sister is getting violent.
Yeah.
Because no one should be hurting their younger sibling like that.
Right, or anybody for that matter,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a good point to bring out, is that if it is getting to that point, then definitely perhaps getting an adult involved, because sometimes you can't reason, you know, with somebody who's being violent and making some, you know, some bad decisions like that. So it sounds like continuing with conversations with the parent, as well as maybe going to a counselor or a trusted adult that can kind of intervene and help out.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be your parent. It's just an adult you really know well and know that you can trust with a certain situation like this. And yeah, eventually, like, your sister is going, like, either younger or older is going to learn sooner or later that it's more mature to not use, like, your hands to hit or anything like that.
Right, because I think some, you know, sibling rivalry, we talk about that all the time, is normal, it's typical, you know, but when it is starting to become extremely stressful, it might be impacting you at school and, you know, friendships and, you know, and you're getting hurt, that's when it kind of crosses the
It's
line.
just going to add all that more stress on you throughout your regular day.
Absolutely.
And also, I don't think this is the case, but when you're a younger sibling, at least for me sometimes, my older brothers or older siblings will like be joking around with me, and then I'll take it in a different way than they were meaning for it to be. And that could be the case in this, but when it gets violent like that and there's actually physical conduct, then I think it should be addressed by an adult.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Let's go on to the second question. So this student says, I'm in 7th grade and I really like this girl in my class, but I can't get the guts to tell her that I like her. My best friend seems to also like this girl, but I can't confirm it. I really want that girl to like me instead of my best friend. I don't know what to do. I need your help. So, what do you do?
I don't know. I mean, I think a really good way to start things off would be like become friends with them. Turn them like, just say nice things to them, and like just treat them like you would treat anyone else.
Yeah. So it sounds like a good, perhaps, relationship starts out as friends and getting to really know the person as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Don't think of it as like a competition or like a fight over your best friend, because you could lose your best friend. But kind of just think of it as like a situation that you're in that you'll finally overcome in a positive way, and yeah.
I know a lot of times when people have like a crush on somebody else, they'll try to act differently than themselves and try to do all this stuff to make themselves look better, to impress the person. But one, you should never try to be someone else that you're not, and you shouldn't let one random person come between you and your best friend. Like, friendships is a lot stronger than some person that you just like.
Right. Well, and I think that kind of happens a lot in middle school where, there's, crushes and relationships and friends, and it definitely can become very complicated. And do you guys all feel like that the friendship should, come first over relationships or crushes, or do you think the opposite?
I think, yes, you should be friends before you start dating, because in order to have a strong relationship, you have to have trust, and you can't just jump into a relationship if you don't have that trust.
And what about, is there like an unspoken rule about not liking the same girl as a friend, or not dating the same person as a friend, or guy or whatever?
I think in middle school there's a lot of stress about dating, because let's say you're friends with these people and then you go ahead and date somebody else and they think that person's like not cool at all, or they think that we're weird, and that can cause a lot of conflict. And then you're gonna think, oh shoot, I can't date her anymore because it's causing conflict between me and my friend, and all sorts of stuff can be brought up then.
So it sounds like your advice for the student is to, get to know the other person, the girl, and make sure that you guys are becoming really good friends, and definitely not making it a competition between you and your best friend, because that can really impact that friendship negatively.
And it is middle school. It's not like you're dating it's not like you're getting married to them or anything.
Right.
Like, if you know what I mean. It's just friends liking friends and stuff, and it's nothing really serious and stuff.
Right. Well, I think in a little bit with Ms. DeMolina, you guys are going to dig a little bit deeper into relationships in middle school, but I think that's some good advice for this student for sure. So thank you all very much. All right, thanks panel. That wraps up U Talk Q&A. Now coming up in our next segment, Mrs. DeMolina and our panel of students discuss dating and relationships. Don't go away, we have much more U Talk ahead.
Your company can join these local businesses in offering students with disabilities the much-needed experience to compete in today's job market. For young people with disabilities, participating in mentoring programs, job shadowing, and internships are great ways to make them stand out among other job applicants. If your company would like to add a student intern, then contact the Special Education Department now at 910-254-4445.
Welcome back to U Talk. I'm Megan DeMolina, school counselor at Noble Middle School. Middle school is often the age where students look to start dating and forming relationships. Our panel of knowledgeable students are going to discuss this tough topic with us today and provide a little insight into dating in middle school. Welcome back. So one of your questions and answer responses at the beginning of the show was about relationships with siblings, relationships with peers and classmates. And we're gonna expand a little bit more and just talk about, what does dating look like in middle school? What does it look like today, 2019?
don't know.
It's
It's a
kinda-
little much.
It's a little much, okay.
I would say wait until 9th grade, but like 8th grade is kind of the start of it.
Sure.
And now that it's 2019, it's all just like a lot to take in.
What role does social media have? I guess, or what role does that play in dating today in middle school?
You can talk more to them, and you like have access.
More
to it.
contact, more access, even outside of school,
Yeah.
right? What do you think, James? What does it
Well-
look like? Maybe.
I think it's dating in middle school. It's just people trying to like act like they're older and stuff, and they think this is something they have to do. And
Great point.
with social media being a key component of it, it's like a lot of stuff can be sent back and forth, and it's important. At least my parents, they check my phone, and it's important that I think parents do that to make sure that it's not like they're still in middle school. It's nothing really serious.
Right. Keeping it very
Yeah.
platonic on a
Yeah.
friendship level,
Exactly.
getting to know people, because you're working on focusing on academics and trying to figure out who you are and how you want how you want to live your life and what goals and dreams you have. And so sometimes relationships can actually be a distraction, right? If
Just
we
more
don't
stress.
or more stress. So do you see that a lot with classmates or sometimes?
A lot of the time, what I see is just people that say they are dating. Maybe the first couple of days, they start almost bragging about it and saying all this stuff, and then for the rest of the time, it's just like they're just regular people. It's like like if they didn't tell you, you wouldn't have ever have guessed that they were dating or anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's not really. I don't know how to explain it.
Kind of more of
Yeah.
a social like acceptance type of thing where everyone wants to get some status like, oh, we're dating. And then
Yeah.
how long do middle school relationships typically last?
I think for the popular kids, it seems to be really short and like not very long at all.
Sure.
And that's like the type of relationships that just cut out really early, and they just don't really care anymore.
Kind of more on the surface,
Yeah.
not really
Yeah.
And they just do it for attention.
attention
Yeah.
seeking maybe
And then,
perhaps.
And a lot of relationships are really pressured, so like they push you out of your comfort zone to do things that you don't really want to do. And I know a group or a relationship that broke up because of pressure from peers.
Sure, it's important to figure out and to know personal boundaries, and that peer pressure really can kick into the middle school age, and you want to make sure that you steer clear of that and know that it's okay to just be friends, like you were
Yeah.
saying earlier. What do students do when they go out, or where do they go?
I know a lot of people will go out and just walk around Mayfair, maybe see a movie or something. And in school, like I said, you can't really tell that
Sure.
anything's happening and stuff.
Well, and hands to self and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone has to fall in line and follow school rules during the school day. But outside of school, kind of going to catch a movie maybe, or walking around Mayfair. Does anyone go bowling or anything?
I'll do that with like my family, maybe not.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe not on a date. How about for Valentine's Day? Does anyone still do anything for Valentine's Day, or get anybody anything? Cards, flowers, candy?
At this age, maybe like the really like Caleb said, the really popular people might do it for just more attention, and they're like, oh look, I'm getting my boyfriend or girlfriend a present for Valentine's Day and stuff, just to show it off and stuff.
Something to talk about, something to, maybe an act of kindness perhaps, but
Yeah.
more attention seeking for sure.
I would save more Valentines to be nice to your family, and just like
Ah.
I don't know, get a present for your mom.
Yeah, it sounds like in middle school, there's definitely the presence of relationships and people saying they're going out with each other, but it doesn't seem to typically, sustain itself for a long time. It just kind of comes and goes. But that really the relationship building is, about, your family and your close friends, and just kind of getting to know people on a basic level.
I would save relationships into like high school and stuff. That'd be probably the best time to do it. Not really so much middle school, because that's just like
Sure.
introducing you to high school, so you get like That's more for education.
Sure. So you're thinking that maybe the dating age should start around 9th grade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8th grade, end of 8th grade.
End of 8th grade, 9th grade, kind of the transition into high
just to
school?
get you
Yeah,
into
if
that.
not even later, because they're still, at least in middle school, I think people are really kind of immature almost, and they just don't really, they can't really take it seriously. It's not.
Developmentally,
Yeah.
still forming that maturity
Yeah,
and
Because they
some.
don't really know anything about dating yet. Because
Right.
like they're
They don't
still
know
only
any-
in middle school. They wouldn't really have any idea of like
Right.
how it works or what's going on.
Sure.
And like what it really means when you're in a relationship with somebody.
Right, right. And breakups can be hard and emotional, and it's hard to kind of not, take that personally, but sometimes you really have to, especially when you don't know a lot about dating or students don't quite know or exactly get what dating is and what that looks like, and how to help your friends through that when there is a breakup or things don't work out and people move on. But that kind of this common understanding that this is what happens in middle school and that it's okay. People come, people go, friends stay friends, breakups occur, people get back together, maybe later down the road in high school once the maturity kicks in. So thinking about all of that, it really levels the playing field for all middle school students to kind of know, okay, it's all right. We don't have to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend to be accepted,
Yeah.
right?
I think it's not important to have a girlfriend or boyfriend in middle school, but I think what is important is to get to know people and make good friend groups with people that you really know.
Right.
And so you have those groups to further down the road,
I think that's a really great point to strengthen those bonds now.
but not necessarily.
as a personal relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend per se. What do you think parents say about dating?
Probably not so
we've
happy
shared
about
our
it.
2 cents, but sorry,
They're probably
Ava.
not too happy about it. Like if it's happening so soon in middle school. I mean, they might like kind of be a little more okay with it, like in middle school, just because like they probably think it's not going to really work out that well. But in high school, they might be a little more like, more protective about it, just because, those relationships could last a little longer and
Sure.
yeah.
Get more serious.
True. So they're definitely involved in wanting to make sure that maybe at the middle school level you're more protected, and maybe a lot of parents aren't quite on board and don't really want to encourage it because you are still learning about yourself and relationships and how that all
Some
works.
some parents, it's just different types. Like some won't really care too much about it,
Right.
and others will be kind of overprotective and just not want them to date at all.
Right.
Yeah, adding on to Caleb, I think some parents they've obviously been to middle school before and might understand that, oh, this is just friends liking each other. It's not really dating. They're
Right.
just, yeah.
How do rumors and gossip add into the stress of dating and relationships? Do you see that at all, or do you hear about things?
I hear a lot of
Hear a
gossip
lot
and
of talk,
rumors and
right?
stuff, yeah.
And people think that they know what everybody's up to, and it really turns out to not really be anyone else's
Yeah.
business. How does that affect people?
It can cause them to not like each other, like it can break relationships, and it could cause someone to not like someone else, and that can happen, and that could also cause fights and stress in school, and it just shouldn't. Gossip is not good.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can middle school students do when rumors or gossip starts to trickle in? How do you handle that? Whether it's about you or not?
Counselors.
Go to the counselors.
It's really hard if you try to do it like by yourself and just say, no, I didn't do that. Obviously, they're not going to believe. They're going to keep going with their rumors.
Sure.
You have to get something like an adult,
Right.
something strong enough to kind of break the rumor up.
Yeah.
Or just ignore it, because the true people who really know the truth, that's all that matters. Those people who you don't really know, they can think what they want to think, but you know what's right, and
That's
that's
right.
all that matters.
You kind of go back to that you do you, right?
Yeah.
Get through middle school and build on that experience and foundation, right? We'll all get through it.
Again,
What's that?
you may never see the people who gossip
That's
about you
true.
again.
That's true. You have to move on. Forgive, forget, and move on, right?
Yep.
Thank you, panelists. Now don't go away. When we return, we will talk about positive communication between students and adults. We'll be right back.
Start your day with New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show. This Rise and Shine program will put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Best of all, you'll start the day a little smarter. The Morning Show features an exciting 6-hour mix of exclusive features, cooking, entertainment, news, science, math, and more. New Hanover County Schools, The Morning Show, educating all viewers to achieve today and tomorrow in a global community. Only on this channel.
Welcome back to UTalk. In our last segment, we talked about dating and students forming relationships with other students. Now we are going to talk to our panel about how they effectively relate and communicate with the adults in their lives. Welcome back. All right, guys, so how do you feel like that you communicate and talk with like your parents, your teachers, other adults in your lives? Is it hard to talk to adults, or is it pretty easy for you guys?
I'm really close with like my parents and stuff, so I tell them what happened every day and things that are personal to me. And I'm pretty close with teachers and peers at our school too, so yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty close to a lot of adults. I don't know why, but it still is pretty hard for me to talk to them because I don't really know what to say. I'm pretty slow. I'm pretty a slow talker,
It's okay.
but I'm pretty close to a lot of adults.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because that kind of what I gathered from what you're talking about with the dating and relationships with students, is that right now a lot of you are really focusing more on like your friendships and your family and those, you know, relationships. So do you find it important, and do you find value in you know, being close with your parents and teachers? And
I think it's really important that
Yeah.
you have close relationships, definitely with your parents, because they're pretty much the people that you go to for every problem. Like, you should be able to talk comfortably to your parents, and they should be able to help you out.
Yeah. What about teachers? Sometimes that, you know, it can depend on the personality of the teacher and, you know, how well you know them, but do you guys find it easy to talk to your teachers, or do you think it's a little bit intimidating sometimes?
It can be, I can find it intimidating sometimes, depending on like what teacher it is. But I think I talk pretty comfortably with teachers and stuff, and I think I have a good relationship with all the teachers that I know.
That's good.
I think it kind of depends on how the teacher is. I think like there's definitely some of my teachers who I think are just funny, and I could talk to them like how I talk to my friends sometimes. And then there's like other teachers where I just kind of like keep my mouth shut and just don't talk.
Yeah. And that's not, I mean, that's not a bad thing, being able to read different personalities and knowing what you might be able to do with, you know, or say to one adult or person might not work with somebody else just because of a different personality or a different situation. So that's not a bad thing, being able to read those differences. What do you guys think?
Tell on the first day of school, like just by how the teacher introduces themselves, if I'm going to be close with them or not.
Okay.
Because normally the more laid back teachers I can talk to rather than the stricter ones where I don't really feel that comfortable.
Definitely. What would be the value in being kind of close to some of your teachers and getting to know them well and them getting to know you?
They can really understand what you're going through and relate, because if you're just like not communicating with them, then they're not really going to understand what you're feeling.
I think it makes school more fun, and just like it's good to have a teacher that you can talk to in like a lot of good ways. And I definitely like my fourth period teacher, Ms. Zay. Oh yeah, she's fun.
That's awesome.
It also might make you, like, with a better teacher, it might make you more comfortable with, like, the work, and, like, it won't make you so stressed if you don't do it, or if you didn't do it the same way you were supposed to do it. And it just makes you feel like you're in more of a comfortable environment.
Yeah. I like how you brought in stress, because it can be stressful if you're in an environment where you're feeling intimidated by, you know, the teacher or the adult in there. And especially, let's say you have a question or you need to, you know, get some extra help, you might not feel as comfortable asking for that if you haven't really kind of started to build that relationship with that teacher.
Yeah, I think it's important that you have a good relationship with your teachers, because like you said, it helps relieve some stress and stuff. you feel comfortable working with them, asking them questions, and it helps you learn more efficiently in class. But also, I know some people have the problem that they're really shy and they don't like talking to other people that they don't really know. And I think it's just, you have to just go past it and just kind of come out of your comfort and just kind of be able to talk to them so you can get that better learning ability.
Right. So what advice do you have for students that maybe find it difficult relating to adults, whether it be their parents or teachers or, you know, any other adult in the community that they interact with?
Stay on their nice side, really. Like, do the best you can to be, like, nice to them. And also, you can just communicate with them more and maybe get to know them better, and then you'll know the right and wrong thing to say around them.
Right.
I think you should like the saying, kill them with kindness.
Okay.
Like try to not be like so rude with them and try to just treat them like another person. Treat them like how you would treat anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that, you know, there's definitely value as a life skill that you're learning, being able to commute effectively with anybody, whether they're peers or, you know, adults. And as you guys get into 8th grade, I know a couple of you are 8th graders, and you may or may not be applying to different programs for high school, which needs teacher recommendations. And it's really good that, you know, for your teachers to know you so that they'll be able to write a really, you know, good recommendation, and you'll feel comfortable asking them. And then, you know, as you move into high school, you're going to have to be doing the same thing as you're applying to college and scholarships. So it's definitely a good skill to have, for sure. So I really appreciate you sharing all that, and I think that's some really good advice for students that are maybe struggling with that. So great job. Well, that wraps up our program this month. I'm Paige Turner. On behalf of my co-host Megan DeMolina and the entire UTalk panel, thanks for watching. We hope you'll submit questions to our show and tune in again next month for an all-new episode of UTalk.